So, dear all, welcome to another cycle of Mapping the Past lectures. It's the third time now. This is an initiative that we started 3 years ago after the conference we did in Athens with the same title. Since then, we have hosted guest speakers like John Binkley, Mary Farinetti, and others, exploring different aspects of mapping antiquity and its material remains. Our aim, let's say, has always been to offer accessible, audience-friendly talks by experts like Nadezhda today, addressing not only archaeologists and historians, but also the public, the people who are interested in the use of technology in the study of the past. This year's theme is Bulgaria, okay, and the digital past of Bulgaria, an exceptionally rich archaeological region, which in recent years we have to admit has been moving increasingly and confidently towards the digital mapping. Our three invited speakers will guide us through different facets of this process, and we hope that their contributions will spark further interest among Greek and, of course, international audiences in what is currently happening in Bulgaria. Today's guest speaker is Nadezhda Kecheva, Assistant Professor in the Department of Interdisciplinary Research and the Archaeological Map of Bulgaria, if I'm right, at the National Archaeological Institute of the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. She has been working there since 2012. She specializes in non-destructive methods and the digitization of archaeological heritage. Her research focuses on the development of, let's say, GIS-based archaeological information systems, the application of non-destructive methods that she will explain later on, and the use of new technologies for documenting and analyzing spatial data. She has participated in several national and European research projects in different metadata standards, and she currently represents NAIM on the board of directors of the European Archaeological Council. She is also the national administrator of the GIS version of the archaeological map of Bulgaria that she will present today, and the team leader of the recently launched project AI ArchaeoTopia, which applies artificial intelligence, which we're waiting very eagerly to hear about that, to the study of topographic maps. I'd like to remind you before we start that your microphones are muted, but you can post comments and you can post questions in the Q&A section during and after the talk. I mean, you don't have to wait. If you have something, you can write it down in the Q&A and then we will transfer it to our speaker later. So without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome Nadezhda, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation as the first speaker of this year's lecture series. So the microphone is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you hear me. Yes?
Yes, very well.
We do. Yeah.
Okay. Dear colleagues, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks to all the colleagues from the Archaeological GIS Laboratory for inviting me to give this first lecture of 3 focused on Bulgarian archaeological heritage. I was thinking a lot before submitting the title and the abstract, and I decided to focus the presentation on Bulgaria's archaeological past and digital future, integrating non-destructive methods, GIS and AI in archaeological heritage. First of all, I want to say that all this work that I present is a result of many teams working in different regions in Bulgaria for many years, all focused on non-destructive methods for archaeological fieldwork activities. This presentation is focused on past, present, and future research on non-destructive applications in archaeology in Bulgaria. So the 3 key points outlined follow these objectives. Bulgaria is situated in southeastern Europe. It is very rich in archaeological heritage. Being a corridor from Asia to Europe, traces from Paleolithic to Revival period are found on the whole of its territory. This presentation explores how digital technologies are transforming the way we discover, analyze, and preserve these cultural heritage treasures. When talking about preservation, it is good to start with gathering data without excavation, non-destructive research strategies, surface surveys, remote sensing, both passive and active, and geophysical surveys are the most common techniques used for data gathering non-destructively, without excavations. So summarizing key points for the history of surface surveys in Bulgaria is essential for understanding the current state in Bulgaria's archaeology. So the development of the methods used in the Bulgarian archaeology could be outlined as exploratory travels, extensive and purposeful surface surveys, and intensive or total surface surveys and total area coverage. Information about the archaeological heritage in Bulgarian lands can be found in the notes of European travelers since the 16th century. Later geographers, geologists, and naturalists, such as Luigi Marsili and Amibue, who passed through this territory, also reported individual, well-preserved archaeological sites. Albert Dumont, a French archaeologist, organized the first professional archaeological expedition to the Bulgarian lands in 1868. And the Austrian scientist and artist Felix Kanitz presented his impressions with wonderful illustrations in the book whose cover you see on the screens. Later, in the end of the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century, Konstantin Irecek and especially the Scorpio brothers had a lot of publications and went throughout Bulgaria's land in different parts and collected information about archaeological sites, which later they published, and their publications are still valuable and used by all kinds of researchers who work with Bulgaria archaeology. The idea of an archaeological map existed since the beginning of the 20th century. It was focused on specific regions, river valleys, mainly on the visible archaeological sites that you see above ground, like burial mounds, settlement mounds, dells, fortresses, and so on, and gathering information from local people, where and what they found in their when they were using their land. So the publications that now I will mention here are the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot more, but I wanted to share with you this all the steps that all the teams that we went through, so that we reached where we are now. So the first half of the 20th century is focused on publications called Materials for Archaeological Map of Bulgaria. Several books that are focused especially on river valleys, some small regions, the Black Sea coast, some special sites like burial mounds. You can see the places of interest in the different publications. The data and information gathered for these volumes was mainly by local people and purposeful field visits of specific sites. The same data and information gathering was used for the work in the second half of the 20th century of the Institute of Immovable Cultural Heritage. Results in their work resulted in catalogs for 9 administrative regions, most of them in North Bulgaria and southwestern Bulgaria. Rarely actual surface surveys by field walking teams were conducted, and when they were conducted, they were purposeful for visiting specific sites. Another era of the surface surveys began with the intensive surveys or total coverage of territory. This beginning could be placed at the end of the 70s and the 80s of the 20th century at Mestas and Struma river valleys in southwestern Bulgaria. These two projects, led by Mečislav Dumaratsky, who actively worked in the regions. The results were published in 2 volumes, and information from local people for artifacts, sites, and localities was always used and gathered. But specific landforms were also covered and visited by fieldwalking team members. The first summary of methods used was thoroughly explained in these publications. In the years that followed, all types of surveys were conducted, mainly extensive and purposeful ones, looking for specific type of sites or sites with specific chronologies. Another important beginning in the intensive surface surveys was marked with the start of using Geographic Information Systems, GIS, during the non-destructive field work activities. In 2008 and 2009, the Tunja Regional Archaeology Project started, focusing on the 2 regions that you see on the map, both on Tunja River, the Kazanlak Valley, and the area near Yambo. An international team led by Adela Subotkova, Sean Ross, Georgi Nekhrizov, and Yulia Tsvetkova did more than 5-year fieldwork activities, and the full results are published in this volume that you see. So the methods used are the famous ones used in the Mediterranean. I should mention, of course, John Bintliff's name here as a very important person who practiced this methodology. And the strategy used for area covered depended on the surface visibility and land cover. Where does GIS come in the fieldwork of this methodology? In marking of the area covered by units, polygons, with specific predefined attributes. Here you can see some of the examples of fieldwalking strategy, the devices used throughout the years, the paper forms used, and the results in desktop GIS applications. Since 2011, these methods, including GIS, were adapted, slightly modified for the Bulgaria's landscape for linear infrastructure projects who emerged in the years that followed. Both gas pipeline, motorways project, railway projects, and the site scatters borders were defined by quantitative data gathered on the field. Different artifacts counted on the surface. Samples of only representative artifacts were collected. This map shows only parts of the linear infrastructure projects that collected data in the same way, the same standard way described above. The map shows the project up to 2019. In the recent years that followed, like 6 more years, more projects were conducted. On the right, you can see 2 publications that describe the methodology used. And the standard attributes of the polygons or units used for marking area covered and varying in size is visible on the screen now. Apart from the unique ID, date, type, and number of artifacts, the predefined values were used for land use, land cover, visibility, strategy. All these attributes were defined when we defined according to our landscape and the fields that we go into. During the years, we tested data collection and data visualization with different field and desktop applications, GIS applications, both commercial and open source. Personally, I'm very happy with the open source possibilities that exist nowadays. I think they're really great and really much easier to work with daily. In the period 2017, 2018, there was a national project that was conducted with nearly 30 expeditions, almost in all parts of Bulgaria, using the same methods for collecting data on the field. You see on the map the location of these projects. Only northwestern Bulgaria was not really represented, but the other parts were more covered. If we return to the previous mentioning archaeological map of Bulgaria that was developed in the mind of the researchers in the beginning of the 20th century, it was practically implemented as an information system in the end of the 1980s, the beginning of the 1990s. And although many Bulgarian researchers' names were involved in the instructions created for filling in the archaeological map of Bulgaria, Mechislav Domaratsky and Georgi Nechrizov were the leading ones. The map was created as a site and monument information system. From all districts in Bulgaria, all different regions, data was collected in the form of these records that you see with like a template, used as templates. Some of its attributes were location, the small scale, large scale map location, geomorphology, hydrology, area, features, found artifacts, type, chronology, etc. Most of the data was based, that was handed in from the different districts, was based on the exploratory and the extensive surveys that I mentioned earlier, the publications from them. According to the state of the according to the state of the technological progress, the archaeological map of Bulgaria was updated 3 times. Until 2 years ago, it was a catalog type information system. Separate maps were uploaded to each archaeological site. But the sites were catalogs. Having in mind what I said about all the data that was collected in a very similar or even the same way since 2008 for area covered, we decided that the archaeological map of Bulgaria needs a next, we can call it 4th update. Actually, it's more like a transformation to a GIS-based information system that can contain all this data, both sites and monuments, together with features and events. The work on this transformation was done in nearly 9 years, and I will explain further why it took so long. The Geographic Information System Archaeological Map of Bulgaria is a national information system created and maintained by the National Archaeological Institute with Museum at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. It has a special regulation for its access. It has a standardized recording, integrates a lot of data sets collected in the last 15 years, and is daily used for management and for scientific, not only for scientific use, but also for resource management. It is based only on open source products. It is specifically developed for our needs. You see the backend, the database, the map server, and the front end based on open layers. we started creating a mobile application specifically focused on GIS archaeological map of Bulgaria needs, but it is on hold for several years. I hope that soon we will get back to it as the new system is online already. So, as I mentioned earlier, the archaeological map of Bulgaria was a catalog-based site and monuments type of information system. Not all recorded archaeological sites had GPS coordinates. So for several years and 2 projects made it possible for a team to locate, to place these GPS coordinates in GIS with specific metadata for site's location. Name of a locality, whether the site was visible on orthophotographs or satellite imagery, whether it was visible on topographic maps, and more than 13,000 sites had to go through this procedure, which of course took some time. The geographic features were created based on their geometry type, points, lines, and polygons. You see the ones that we have defined so far, each one with specific attributes, such as site center, GPS track, site scatter or site border, area covered, the polygons that I talked about, investment area, etc. And we are planning to define more of these geographic features as LiDAR and geophysical surveys, etc. I give here a few examples of regional projects. On the left is the project near Deutun in southeastern Bulgaria, and the project near Heraclea Sintica in southwestern Bulgaria. The area covered, the sites recorded, and the site scatters. And here is an example of linear infrastructure projects, a gas pipeline, and a railway linear infrastructure project near Sofia. So I mentioned LiDAR. Why adding other features, other geographic features to the archaeological map with predefined attributes such as LiDAR? Because in the same years, we were constantly using area remote sensing for visual analysis. We used orthophotos and satellite imagery from different years, as I said, only for visual analysis. And especially LiDAR data when available. Bulgaria does not have national coverage using airborne laser scanning. So separate projects were conducted, separate projects from different institutions, from different ministries and so on, especially in the last 10 years in different regions. The data is constantly increasing, especially with the use of UAVs, LiDARs, drone LiDARs. And I want to use the opportunity to mention an European Archaeological Council publication, maybe many of you know it, where we participated as authors, and it is focused on guidance for the use of airborne laser scanning in archaeology. It is really quite useful for the people working in this field. Geophysical surveys also collected lots of data, even more because of the usage of geophysical surveys for more than 30 years. And some of this data is not georeferenced since it was collected long time ago. But in recent years, multi-channel magnetometers using ATVs vehicles became quite common for area covering, for to gather georeference results very fast, to cover lots of area. It's really, really useful. And such an example is Pliska, a medieval town in northeastern Bulgaria that was totally covered for a couple of years. You see the area, it's quite large and quite large territory, and thorough publication is forthcoming. The colleagues that were working on this were quite impressed by the results that we await to see in the thorough publication. Another publication in Bulgarian with English abstract that could be interesting for people working in the geophysical surveys and in the field of geophysical surveys is this one. It is published by a colleague of mine from my department, Nikola Tonkov. He has been working for years. He's a geophysicist. So all the presented non-destructive research strategies, including the concept and the work on GIS archaeological map of Bulgaria, are published in my PhD thesis, my dissertation, which was focused on methods and the archaeological map of Bulgaria. It is in Bulgarian with English summary, and it is quite large. I mean, it took me longer time to finish it, but I'm happy that now it's published. And I want to thank for the review of Adela Subotkova that was also published in Archaeology Bulgaria journal last year. So we cannot stay only on the methods level. We develop our research in the analysis of data. I'm very happy with more and more young researchers and PhD students that are focused on regional spatial analysis. I'm mentioning now only 3 of them, but there are more focused on different geographical regions like the Kazanlak Valley and the East Rhodope Mountains and Stranja Mountain. Since their regions are quite large, they focus on analyzing settlement system using sites as points, implementing point pattern analysis, and other spatial statistics. The Kazanlak dissertation was already defended quite successfully. We're waiting for its publication, and I'm very interested to see the results of the other 2 theses. All these standardized data collected during the last years as an area covered could also be very useful for analysis. I am trying to focus on that now. And if you want to see more, I'm having a presentation at the CAA, Computer Applications in Archaeology, in 2026 in Vienna, that is called Fear of the Black Box, Interpretable Machine Learning for Bulgarian Development Land Archaeological Surveys, where I try to emphasize how such data collected in a standardized way could be used further than just being quantitatively visualized pretty in GIS. Mentioning machine learning, we are getting to the hype of the world now, in the artificial intelligence applications. We're at the beginning of a project financed by the Bulgarian National Science Fund for testing computer vision on georeferenced historical topographic maps. One of the goals of the project is detecting burial mounds, which have specific labels on the maps, for the whole territory of Bulgaria. If you want to see more, you can see the website that we recently launched. And as I told you, we just started the project in the middle of December 2025. So we are at the beginning of our work. The AI ArchaeoTopia project will show how computer vision can augment human expertise, allowing archaeologists to process vast amount of historical data with higher speed and accuracy. This translates into more comprehensive understanding of ancient landscape, saving time. Human in the loop is a necessary part of the whole process that we will definitely have. I'm happy to say that more and more researchers from Bulgaria are working in the non-destructive field of archaeology, not only for data collection, but also for data analysis. We will see where the application of AI, computer vision, generative AI will lead us with human in the loop, of course. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Nadezhda. Thank you very much. I like the conclusion, charting a new course for archaeology. Great stuff. I mean, even before we start, I told you in person that because I found it the whole thing you did very interesting, and your PhD. Yes, please, if you have any questions, and I don't know, Meliana can help us. Can we have?
I see a raised hand.
I know, but can we open the mic? Do we have the ability to do that?
No, unfortunately, not in the webinar. We cannot, but we can.
We can allow mic. Actually.
Can we?
I did so. Yeah, if you can hear us, can you speak, please, Georgi? No, we cannot.
I'm not sure. We can allow mics.
No, we cannot.
But
sorry.
you can type your question and we can read it and discuss it.
So we will start with the Q&A. Then I have some questions. I'm really sorry about that, but it's our the system we use. So please, we have to do it in the Q&A. So we have a question.
There is a question also in the chat. There is a question in the chat.
Okay, I'm starting from what is that? In the chat, I'm starting. Okay. From Eskild Hilerup Pokel, that says, you mentioned that the archaeological map includes effective management of resources. Does this include hazard-based risk assessment, or is it primarily focused on inventory and documentation?
Thank you. Thanks for the question. It is focused on inventory and documentation. Risk assessment is another step that we plan to implement, but we still haven't. So yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Petra, who says, "Hi Nada, thank you for the talk. Are there any plans for LiDAR coverage of whole Bulgaria?" This will be like a big project.
Yes, we are also waiting for this, but it should be again state initiative. And I know of several ministries that want to do it, but they still don't find the support from the state itself. So for now, we have only different separate projects. And I really hope that soon the state will decide that, yeah, we need it, even if it's like 5 points per square meter. It would be great.
You know, a follow-up question on that. I mean, do they actually contemplate to do that as a project, a state project, to cover the whole, to do a LiDAR coverage of whole Bulgaria?
Not
it's
for
a wishful
now,
thinking, or no?
No, for now not. But I know for other countries, I don't know whether Greece has it, but I know that even North Macedonia has a total coverage. Slovenia and maybe many other, and Romania I think also have. So it's something that they have even for like 10 years or so. It's a state.
Nice.
It should be a state decision.
I mean, it would have been great actually if there are open access state, let's say, files that you can use. So we have another
Even
question.
with
Petra
less
tells us
resolution.
that Czech Republic also has
Oh,
it.
there's a flow of questions. I will start with Srdjan Beck. Hope I said correctly the name. Hi, Nadezhda. It was an amazing presentation. I wanted to ask, what types of ML do you use? Do you use K-means? Oh, I was dealing with that today. It was a nightmare. K-means and DB scan clustering methods. And do you use prediction models? Oh, actually, very good question. Very good question.
It is. I suppose this question is about the talk at the CAA that I mentioned a little. So I'm using more like prediction models, but yeah, I would be really happy if some of these people that are now asking questions will be at the CAA, so we can there discuss this more like in depth.
Yeah.
So, but I think you missed one question. Risk
No.
assessment in
It's,
Northern Trace.
I'm taking the by turn. It's from, of course, Zosia Archibald. That's his. Thank you.
No. The question
No,
about
before.
Vasilis, there's a follow-up about the risk
sorry.
assessment.
Before.
Which
risk
risk
assessment in
okay.
Northern
Risk
Trace.
assessment. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. The answer
all
is
dates.
yes.
Risk assessment in Northern Thrace, Southern Bulgaria is what my thesis is about. Could I conduct you? Of course. Yes, is the answer. Of course. Yes. So we go to Zosia Archibald. That's thanks you for the presentation. And you showed us a map of Pliska. Can you say something about other complex sites?
Zosia, yeah, okay, sorry.
Zosia Archibald, yeah.
Yes, Zosia has a question, not just thank you, yeah, yes.
Well, the Pliska map showed the coverage of the geophysical survey. I don't understand whether the question is about specifically for geophysical surveys or
generally GIS.
I don't know whether complex sites where GIS has been applied for area covered or for if she could just contact me later or define now the questions more.
Okay, great.
But the Pliska was just informative for the geophysical surveys that we are doing. I mean, I'm not part of that team, but that Bulgarian archaeologists are doing with these multi-channel magnetometers, and the results are amazing.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Very fast. Yes.
If we have any questions, I have a question actually. There's no other questions from the audience, but let me. Oh no, Zosia coming back again.
Yes.
The question was about multiple forms of GIS investigation, geophysical and mapping of features. And so on. Yeah.
Yes, there was a project in another region near Svishtov. Was another project, and we also used. I was part of that project. We also used these multi-channel magnetometers and mapped features. It's another publication that I can send. I just forgot to put it on my presentation, so yeah.
You make a wiki after the talk, and all the fans can ask for a question. We have another question from Sayan Das. Hi, you mentioned the application of a vision model. Which vision model do you think can be optimal and yield better results for such kind of research?
Vision model, do you mean computer vision or visual analysis? When I said visual analysis, it was that we analyzed the satellite imagery and the LiDAR data, the DTMs, the digital terrain models, and the hillshades, we analyzed them visually because they could be also analyzed with AI now. But we haven't tested that. So I'm not sure I understand about the vision model. So
okay, we're waiting for if we can or she can clarify. Do we have any questions? I do have a more generic one because there are two technicals. Although before I go to the generic one, the question about the K-means and the DB scan. Do you find QGIS easy to do this kind of stuff? Because it takes a lot of time.
I find QGIS easy for doing the daily work with the attributes, with drawing polygons, filling in predefined values and so on. And it's with all the plugins that you can use, it's really useful for me. But if you want to do some, for example, hydrological analysis or something else, or the prettiest maps, ArcGIS Pro still holds.
No, I think
higher,
that, I mean, here the whole thing, the issue goes beyond nicely done maps, but
yes,
this will be the AI question. Is that I mean, more and more will be in the need of incorporating AI in our models. I found out that probably this open source software, which I also use, and I find it very useful. It's very complicated to, probably because it's open source and it's so many parameters.
I kind of had a follow-up question that kind of fills in
Go
Vasili's.
I think that the GeoAI will will develop in time more and more for the open source. I haven't tested the AI in ArcGIS Pro. I mean, the GeoAI that it has, I forgot how it was called. It was some extension, I think, or not sure. But now with the project that we have, the AI ArchaeoTopia, we will test all kinds. But I suppose we're going to use Python. Yeah, of course.
How familiar are the colleagues, the archaeologists, colleagues in Bulgaria? Before I ask about AI, how familiar are with the GIS and the application of GIS in their work, and how well they receive it?
More and more colleagues and archaeologists are working with GIS, and with the archaeological map now, GIS based, they even the ones that haven't used GIS before now start to see that it's really useful, and they really like it, and we get all sorts of feedback for, well, it's great, and of course, there is room of improvement
themselves, or it's something that they need somebody else to apply it?
I think there are different scenarios. I mean, some people do it by themselves. The people that I work with, they can all work with GIS. But some people hire other, for example, pay some amount of money or something to others. So it's different. I mean, but more and more are using GIS, definitely. I cannot say percentage. I mean,
no, that's fine.
I haven't
it's just
made
a
survey
general assumption. But I think there are two more questions in the chat, Vasily.
Before Mariana asks her own question, you go back to. Sorry, let's do the chat first. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's again Sardan says, what do you think about using hydrological analysis in QGIS for channels and drainage systems and the correlation with the sites?
I haven't tested that. I cannot say. I mean, yeah. So.
Okay.
A
straightforward answer. So,
the questions are in so different fields, because yes, the presentation was in different fields. It was not focused on one project, and yeah, so it's.
So we go to the next question, which by Christian Talevsky, who has done an amazing map of archaeological sites in North Macedonia. He was invited by us in CA in Ceres, and he says, thank you for the presentation. I saw that there are some data entry forms used in printed, not handwritten format.
Yes.
Should we consider automation of alphanumeric data extraction from these forms as attribute tables by Python scripting or some apps?
Well, what I showed, the paper forms, they were already digitized. I mean, when you collect the data on the field, After that, when you fill in the attributes in polygons, you have to digitize it. But what we want to do with this mobile application, so we don't have to use these paper forms anymore. But this is also an idea to use some old paper forms. They were already digitized, but for the bigger polygons and not for the smaller ones. And we can use this for with Python scripting for this to make a more detailed area covered by smaller polygons that were not recorded in GIS, but only in the paper forms. So yes.
Okay, and Sayan has come back again with another question about vision. Pre-train the second one I will read. Pre-trained vision model like ResNet or UNet. Basically, he's answering what you asked before.
Yes.
Which underlies the structure of GIS AI plugins. Or are you planning to train one separately related to the datasets of your research?
I suppose this is about the topographic maps project. We plan to train one separately, but there are other people that are dealing with the Python scripting. I mean, I don't know Python, so I rely on the team, the team members that are familiar. So now we are focused on automatic georeferencing of these topographic maps because they are not georeferenced either. So it's also another work that we need to do first, as far as it could be done by automatic, of course, again by Python scripting, because they're paper scanned, you know, they're blurry sometimes, or the edges are not very well visible, so it's tricky. And yeah, and then we're going to do the testing of deep learning and recognizing labels of burial mounds.
If Eskil and Sayan are archaeologists, well, I admire their. I say that if Eskil that did the question before and Sayan now, if they are archaeologists, I admire their technical knowledge. If not, okay. Meliana, you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question about like the differences between open source software and like paid software, because you do have a lot of experience. Yes. Where do you find that in your experience, where's the limitation of the open source and where does the paid software like helps? Is it faster to deal with data? Is it easy? Is it easier to deal with a bigger amount of data? And I'm saying this in defense of the open source because we do like open source a lot. But where do you, in your experience, where you have to deal with a lot of material, where did you had to go to the like better solution?
Well, we started with ArcGIS, and it had different versions after that, and now it's ArcGIS Pro. And I stopped using ArcGIS maybe 4 or 5 years ago, almost, like very rarely. And this year, last year actually, we had the ArcGIS Pro, and it's for me dealing with QGIS is, yes, as I said, much easier, especially with the GeoJSON files and the ability of the open source to deal with all kinds of file extensions very easily. You can upload everything in and you don't think about what extension it is. With ArcGIS Pro, which has, of course, very positive things and so on, you have to go through conversion and except for geodatabase or a shapefile that you can, of course, upload. And the shapefile, you know, it has its limitations of characters in like 250, I think, and so on. So GeoJSON is, I think, really.
So it's not necessarily that
good.
It's a better solution. It's just it has some features that are like maybe fancier.
Yes,
I don't know.
And the open source that we use for the GIS archaeological map is also like the open layers. So when 9 years ago, when we started, we were thinking whether we will use open source or whether we will go with the commercial ones. And we decided that because of all the data we had, that we wanted all the polygons we had, all the area covered, we wanted to do something that could upload this data with a little bit of cleaning, of course, and some other things. That's why we decided that we are going for open source. And for now, I'm really happy with this decision.
Okay. Okay. Well, if we don't have any, I have one last question about the more philosophical, let's say, or more methodological. I mean, all these amazing things you have described to us, and gradually the incorporation of AI in our work. I mean, I'm asking you as your personal opinion, okay, about your professional personal opinion. How do you see the role of the archaeologist evolving in the next year? I mean, he will be a data collector, he will be a data interpreter, he will be a validator, or he can be an AI trainer, or all these things together. I don't know.
In Bulgaria or in Europe or in
generally, because obviously this is a pan-European or universal experience.
It's universal, it's universal.
It's universal. I think it's more data analyzer, like analyzing data, and the application of large language models, of LLMs to text. It's also very, very, I think, hype, because we have lots of legacy data everywhere in the world.
Yes,
lots of publications, lots of documentations, and so on. And if there is, there will be a standard at some point, definitely a workflow, how you can extract information without reading 500 pages.
Indeed.
And having it in a table format or so on, it would be definitely useful, but it should be validated also definitely by human.
So
that's what I think.
You see this human in the loop, let's say, aspect. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Yes. Great. Great answer. Thank you.
Our archaeological sites.
There is one
more
question.
We have one more question.
Yeah. Okay. So how are archaeological sites categorized and described in terms of their physical attributes and terminology? Does this process rely on nationally regulated legal inventories, as we said at the beginning, or you used internationally standardized ontologies?
With the previous version of Archaeological Map of Bulgaria, that was the catalog based, we were part of the Ariadne and Ariadne Plus projects. So we mapped our metadata from there to the ACDM Ariadne catalog data model, which is mapped to CDOC CRM, and we used Getty vocabulary. We mapped our vocabulary to the Getty AAT, and the periods were introduced in the period O. I mean, we followed Despina knows very well what the project was about, and actually some of our data is available on the Ariadne portal. But with this system that we now changed, some of the fields are the same, but some are different. So we need to work on the mapping again for the new for the geographic features, for the polygons and the attributes. And I think that we are going to use CDOC CRM, but it will be on maybe a next level. We're still trying to incorporate these new geographic features that I told you about, the LiDAR, and the LiDAR attributes are like so long, and they're based on these guidance that I showed you. So it's we want to collect these fragmented data to be on one, so the mapping to ontologies will wait a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, by Christian, who is an archaeologist.
Yes,
I know that.
I know him.
Yeah,
I know him.
yeah.
I know him by name. Yes.
Yeah. So, if we do have any, Angela Vergu, please, if you want, you can make your question through the Q&A or the chat. Let's wait because we'll have another question. So, I mean, you can see from the we have another one from Petar. Have you used any of the processed output to produce visualization or to reinforce illustration for public viewing? Great question. Exhibitions and digital materials.
I suppose from the archaeological map, or yes, okay. It's I thought it was another specific questions for the same. For public viewing, we have the data that is in the Ariadne portal. We want to make some public versions at some point of the archaeological map, but according to the regulations, it is, as I said, with restricted access to archaeologists working in cultural institutions in Bulgaria. So we haven't made any exhibitions based on archaeological map, like the system itself, but of course there were some exhibitions on different projects. So if that answers the questions, I don't know.
It is actually interesting because, I mean, if you see, I mean, if you want to see which is the greater challenge, I mean, if is it to advance the research capabilities of your project or to integrate it to some sort of public policy and public acceptance and heritage protection frameworks, which one of the two you think is? I guess it's the second one. I mean, the first one, it's pure research and you can find ways to do it, but the second one might be a little bit more difficult to be more publicly.
Well, to be more, what I told you about the site's location, we have this legacy data that we still use, and there are we need some time to verify whether these sites were actually there. So if they're extremely public, someone will say, okay, I have this site here, but it's actually not here, but it's like 20 meters or 50 meters to the west. So we are a little bit cautious in that direction. And for scientific research, archaeological map is really useful, but not all the information is there. For example, you can get the idea what site, when was excavated, and so on. But if you want to see the full publication of the excavations, for example, if there is a full publication, you have to find it somewhere else, because it's not everything is in the archaeological map, of course, and it cannot be. I mean, there's so much data that is, or publications that are out there. So
yeah, well, you know what, I mean, it was very successful, your presentation, and we know that now.
But there is one more question.
This is where I'm going to, because there are more and more questions coming, broader questions, and now Argyro is asking, thank you for your presentation. What ethical challenges, you have to answer that, do you see arising from the use of AI in archaeological research? So we went from the
actually, this is very serious question.
This is very serious
question, and
we have a special work package. I mean, not a task of the work package that is focused on this.
Yeah.
Yes, so I cannot say it now. I mean, we are starting this research. We are part of the Maya Coast also project. Maybe you know it. Of course, it's managing artificial intelligence in archaeology. And these ethical issues are, yes, of course, there are some documents on that, but they, I think, are still developing. And yes, it's just, it's a very, very important issue that all projects that use AI should definitely focus on and write about it. So yeah.
Now, this is a question that sooner or later, every project that more or less is using AI.
Yes.
When I say AI, I mean from LLMs to, I don't know, more
To
complicated
generative
machine
AI.
learning. Yeah, you have to face that. I mean, as
Yes.
a researcher yourself, and as you're impacting the. So it was a great question. Yeah. So if there is no, this Christian, and this thing will be the last question, I think, because we are already quite a long time. I can suggest, says Christian, an approach that my colleagues used when designing the archaeological map volume 3, where the actual maps are published. The site symbols are extensive, plus they horizontally moved all the sites at specific bearing and specific distance. So while keeping the modern place at actual coordinates. So
Okay.
you can contact
I can contact
Christian,
him.
or you can contact
Yes.
Christian.
Yes.
So as I was saying before, the question by Argiro, it was a very successful presentation. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much.
Because
Thank
you saw the questions that you instigated, the discussion. And thank you, and hopefully we will meet in person soon. And a great work, and this is a great leap forward for the archaeology of Bulgaria and generally Southeast Europe. So
thank you. Just a
yes.
few words. Thank you very much for the invitations. Thanks for everyone who was present. Thank you for all the questions. And as I said, it's a teamwork. I mean, there is no one-man show. It should be a teamwork. Everything is a teamwork. So the team is really, really important for, all the applications and everything. So I want to thank my colleagues and the team I work with. So thanks.
It's a great thing.
It's self-understandable that it is teamwork, because I think none of us can actually practice archaeology nowadays without collaborating. Collaborating with different fields have really an extended collaboration and a teamwork. And I think this is one of the great things we succeeded in archaeology, because a few decades ago, archaeologist was a very lonely and very individual work. So I think all these digital technologies help us to work together. And thank you for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
We learned a lot. It was very stimulating. I think all the questions was really a proof of the interesting presentation you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you all for being here with us, for watching the wonderful lecture by Nadezhda. Our next speaker will be Petra Tuslova, that will speak more specifically about the project in Yambul district, I think. And so we will have a new aspect of what's going on in the digital past of Bulgaria. Thank you all. Thank you especially the Greek people, because today is a day, with the meat and all this crazy stuff that's happening here, that you spent your evening with us. So thank you all, and we will see you again on March. I don't remember exactly the date, but we will keep you posted through our webpage. So thank you. And thank you, Nadezhda, again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening.
Bye.